Everyone, and welcome to this week's McFay critique. It's changed a little bit this week for two reasons. One, I'm using Lightroom so I can suggest a few more changes, maybe show you crops and colour changes and things like that a little bit better. And the other thing is, I'd already done this critique, and because the YouTube video was too long, I couldn't upload it. So, you hear the whistle in the background? I'm allowing 2.5 minutes per shot. So here goes on the first one. Right, first impressions, it looks like a pretty well executed HDR. The tower looks like it's a little bit darker at the top, so it could have been a grad filter. But I suppose the colours in the greens are quite vibrant, as are the colours in the sky, so there's definitely a bit of polarisation going on there. How are we doing for things like details? A little bit of haloing going along that edge there. So what you want to do in Lightroom, and you can't really do it at this stage, but you could get hold of your brush and go for your clarity slider, put it to negative clarity. So do this to your raw file, I mean obviously it's not going to work too well here, but if you're getting edges like that, just negative clarity around the edges and it'll soften that up. Okay, so you've got 90 seconds left. It's a bit exciting this. So next thing, you crop the top off that spire. So yeah, try and avoid that at all costs, especially with buildings. If you can't get the whole thing in, move backwards so you can. Crop wise, I think this middle line here is bang in the centre. If you look at the crop grids I've just put up there, it is. So although you've nicely squished this in, this gravestone down here bottom left, what I'm going to do is bring this across so the centre of the tower goes over this clock here. You don't have any of the tombstone in there. Let's have a look what it looks like cropped. So it's a bit more of a 10:8 crop now, a bit squarer. And what we can do maybe is clone this just over the top of that. I always love how it picks the wrong place to crop to. It's quite staggering how bad it can be. Proper crop, you would do this in Photoshop, which is far better with its context-aware cropping. So yeah, in a nutshell. Oh, and one last thing before the bell goes, I would probably reduce the saturation on the sky a little bit. There you go. Right, so that's that one done. So let's have a look at the next photo, which is a shot of Tower Bridge. So the first thing is I really like the detail the photographer's got on this side over here. So if we have a little zoom in on the rivets and things like that, it's incredible. And they really stand out, nice and sharp. If you're into your structures, that's a dream come true. The little bit's alright, but what is 3/4 of the picture? It's black. So I don't even know where the edge is actually, because I've got a black background. But I don't know if we can change it here. There you can see it. So all this space here is dead. Now that works in some instances. If you've got like a person over here on the left, on the right rather, looking towards the left, you can have a big, it's called negative space, where there's nothing there. But I think in this instance it doesn't work as well as the photographer intended. So I would probably suggest 2 or 3 different crops. So let's first of all, the bit that really struck me was this wonderful girder detail here. Semi-abstract. You've got to be a bit of a structural engineer fetish or something like that to really like it. Okay, so that's one idea. Another one is to keep most of the stuff in, but reduce the impact of the negative space. So if you see what I've done there, I've put it so the third line's going through the middle top. And see how much better that is. Okay, and then maybe, oops, let's go back a little bit more and crop. I mean, you could even just get a little tower crop if you wanted to. Let's go to about, I don't know, about there maybe. No, it's not quite working, is it? Could do a little rotation there. Okay, but you get the idea. I mean, it's a good shot. It's just lacking something like a moon or something over here. Wow, 2.5 minutes doesn't half go quick. Right, the next shot then. So it looks like Crosby Beach, Anthony Gormley's Men. So sunset happens over to the right of the shot here. So we're shooting with the sunset happening to our right hand side. It looks like the sun's gone down because there's no light on the side of him. If the sun was out, we'd have like an orange glow down here and a shadow there, which would have been really nice. But as it stands, we've got nice patterns on the sand, reasonable sky, interesting muted sort of colour palette there. It's almost getting towards a sort of aqua turquoise shade of blue. So I think the main thing is probably processing issues on this one. If we look at the chap here, we have this big brown halo all the way around him, that's just caused by too much clarity. Or it can be caused if it's a HDR. I'm not sure if it's a HDR, and I don't think it is, but it can be caused by local contrast in the HDR thing. And the other thing is too much sharpening and chromatic aberration. So you see, if we see if I can get zoomed in a bit further, just to illustrate this point. But if you look at the edge of this thing, because we've over sharpened it, we get this white line around the edges of things. What you need to do, that if you're getting this, is use your brush. Now it won't work on this when I do it now because I'm editing the a JPEG, not the RAW file. This is why you should always. But you can see if you just get negative clarity and go around the edges of these things, it will reduce the impact of that. Okay. So what I would suggest with this one is you've got a nice shot there. It's just been a little bit overcooked with the processing. Is that horizon level? I'll just check that because I've got 12 seconds left on this. So let's go to the angle tool. Oh, looks like I must have leveled this one up yesterday. Right, so hold back on the process on that one. Next shot. Dogs. Dogs jumping over stuff. Now, first thing I would probably say with this one is you're probably not in the right position for the shot, because if the dog is facing over there and you are over here, so imagine the same shot but you could see the dog's eyes and its tongue flapping around, and a real nice sort of action shot of the dog coming towards you. As it stands, it's going away from you, so it's losing a bit of the energy that you get from, and emotion in a way, from the eyes and everything. That said, you've got a lovely mid-air shot. You can see its legs in position, where its front paws go to. Now, the other thing is the people. It's good to have people in the back of things. It makes it look quite busy, but are they a bit sharp? Let's just see what settings you use. So you're on ISO 400 to get a nice shutter speed, and you get 1600, so that's why it's nice and frozen, so that's good. F5.6. So if you're shooting action or anything like that in a busy looking area like this one, what I might suggest is that if you have a lens which goes faster than 5.6, is try maybe 2.8, or if you've even got a prime, a bit faster than that, so you can get the background a bit more blurred, and zoom in as far as you can go. You're at 45 there, so if you had I don't know what zooms you've got, but if you had something to 200, if you went to a 200th of a second of 200mm lens, stood a bit further away, what you'll find is that the background has less effect. Okay, so with this one, I would suggest, what you could do if you wanted to, as an afterthought, you could maybe Let's just try this as a. This is a bit over the top, obviously. Yeah, but just to get the impression that, woo. So all I'm doing here is just blurring and darkening down the background just to make the dog maybe not so dark. Right, so that's that one over, but yep. Okay. And finally, the Angel of the North. Well, so this is a place I've photographed dozens of times, probably a dozen times, and it's usually a ultra wide lens I use. So this is interesting to get the view with a what we at. Oh, it doesn't say. Whoever's uploaded this has hidden away the settings by looks, but it usually comes up here. So yeah, it looks like it's been used with a longer lens, maybe a 50 or a 70 or something like that. I like the way it brings out the circular nature of the head, because you don't normally see these details here. It's usually a silhouette, so you've got like a silhouette and really nice clouds behind it, that kind of thing. Is it working? It's sort of working. It's missing. The thing about the Angel of the North is it's quite a thin body, tall, thin, skinny thing with these massive wings. What this is giving the impression of, it's quite a. The structure here is actually quite immense, and it's quite a miracle it's standing. You know, I mean, the engineering that went into this thing is incredible. So you're showing that off quite nicely. It's actually showing is it a female form? I don't know. See, I've never noticed this before. He usually sculpts things on his own body, so it's hard to say. Having a quick look at the histogram, it's quite down the left-hand side, so maybe let's bring it up a little bit. Just there we go. So that's brightened it up, add a bit more oomph to it if you want to, with a bit of clarity, a bit more contrast. If you wanted to do it that way, I mean, you can always add a bit more black to get those, and bring the clouds back a little bit with the highlight slider. So have a little play with the sliders just to vary a little bit, and maybe have a little play with crops. I mean, so if we went to this crop here, 13 seconds. Let's see if we get a 1-to-1 crop out of it. So we need the head in. Does that work? Maybe. Right, so that is the 5 photos. Just a quick look over them again. 2.5 minutes each doesn't sound like a great deal actually, but hopefully you've got some tips out there. For this one, I just calmed down the blue sky and cropped. So this is more on the left hand side. I'd probably shot the whole thing by, if I was there, rotating a little bit to the right so you got the whole church and didn't lose this side. Okay. This one, okay, this is a case of too much black going on, great detail, but if you'd have done this before it was pitch black and had a sky there, or there was a moon or something else there, it would have been stunning. It's just too much empty space. Okay. Nice scene, just a little bit overkill on the processing, gives you this obvious haloing, so just go back and redo that one and see if you can get a better result. As you can see with this one, but I got timed out by it, but in the background you've got these people. You can see already with the clarity down, it blurs them, and they don't stand out so much. So using a wider lens is how you do that, rather than doing it in post-processing. And the final one, it's an interesting and different view of the Angel of the North. So yeah, well done for trying something a bit different. Right, okay, so there you go, 2.5 minutes on each shot. Hope that helps, and look forward to seeing loads of photos on the next critique, which need to be submitted by Sunday the 28th, and I'll record the critique on the Monday or Tuesday after that. Okay, thanks a lot.